Hello and welcome. My name is Errity Green and this is Wise Woman Oracle and Tarot. And today I am bringing you a pick a card reading on love predictions for couples. If you find yourself single at this time, you'll want to check out the other reading, Love Predictions for Singles. So if you find that you resonate with this reading, I encourage you to like, to subscribe. Please do press the bell icon. That way you receive notifications every single time a video pops up. I do want to let you know before we begin, and I've seriously had to say that 3 or 4 different times now to get it right, that I offer both personal readings as well as coaching programs. You can check out those details below or at erritygreen.com. So we will begin by placing a picture up of your 3 card piles to choose from today, and then we will get started. Okay, so for card pile 1, today we're talking about love predictions for your relationship. Okay, so I feel like in some ways, whatever you've been working toward, you might be working toward it and feeling like you're doing the bulk of the work. So if you're in a situation / relationship, or what you would consider partnered, or one part or one half of the couple, whatever partnership you're in, partner usually implies 2, but I don't want to leave anyone out. It feels like you're working toward a vision, maybe your partner isn't. So this could look like, what the initial feeling that I'm getting is around like trying to build a home or a certain family life or something like that, and you feel like you might be unsupported, aka you're kind of going at it solo, like you're the one who's primarily putting in the work and the effort and doing the thing, and maybe the other person hasn't fully jumped in, they haven't fully engaged. For some of you, this is you're working to build this relationship or evolve or grow as a partnership or a couple, like you've been through a period of maybe difficulty or challenge or struggle, and it doesn't feel like heavy, deep, or dark, although it could be for some of you. It feels more like people grow and change, like that's natural, and in this relationship you've been working toward creating something better for the both of you and trying to, quote unquote, we'll say, make it work, and perhaps the other person isn't doing it, because we're seeing that you're working towards something but you're doing it alone. So you're not feeling supported, that person is not on board, whether it's toward a dream or like a certain home life or maybe certain family life, and or just working toward this relationship to make it bigger, better. You're doing this alone and you feel like you're the only one putting in the effort. And for some of you, again, just to sustain the relationship, you feel like you're feeding it, you're nourishing it, and perhaps your partner isn't supporting you, isn't supporting this relationship or sustaining it in any kind of way. So in one way or another, it feels that this vision that you have is really beautiful, and it feels like there would be a lot of really like good, juicy potential in there for the both of you if this person joined. Now, I'm not getting in the energy, like there's no judgment about that person. It's very much, when we do these readings, it's very much focused on the person who is viewing. So that's where the energy tends to go. It talks about the person who comes here. So I don't always get a whole lot of energy about the other person. So instead, we focus on you, and we see that you are working toward creating something better, maybe healthier, or more just working toward whatever it is you ultimately want for yourself and for this relationship, for your home, for your family, whatever situation applies to you, and you're kind of going at it solo. Now, I will say there's a lot of positive energy here, so I'm not feeling any kind of bitterness, resentment, stress, frustration, or anger. I'm not feeling that. It doesn't mean that you don't have those feelings, but it feels like whatever you're doing is ultimately rewarding. It does lead you to where you want to go. This is the quote unquote right direction. This is true for you. Like in the event that you were seeking validation or curious, am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? The answer would be yes. It feels like there's a lot of really good energy and potential here as a result of following this path. It doesn't say anything about the other partner, but it does say that you are working towards something that ultimately is meaningful / valuable in the end. Yeah, so again, I'm getting that it's almost like you're operating solo. It's like another validation, affirmation, confirmation of the same message that we already got, in terms of like you're trying to build this connection, you're trying to build this home, you're trying to build this vision, this dream, and you're more or less getting silence from the other person. Now here's the thing, it doesn't mean literal silence, although it could be. Maybe they don't respond, maybe they don't engage. Maybe they just aren't meeting you. One way or another, they're not fully showing up. They're not fully showing up for you. They're not fully showing up for this partnership, relationship, vision, dream, project, whatever this is that you are trying to create. It actually very much shows that you're willing to see them, to meet them, and they're turning away. And we even have silence here. So the other partner is turned inward right now. I feel like I am getting some energy regarding this person. This may not apply to everyone, but since it is here, I'm going to share on it. Feels like that person's turned inward. They're sort of dealing with some, inner world stuff that perhaps they haven't communicated to you, or they have, but they're just more self-focused, person-focused, like personally focused, inward-focused. So they're not able to give you what you might need or what you might desire toward building something that's more collaborative. They're more focused on them at this time, as opposed to something joint, mutual, or collaborative in terms of a healthy home, family, vision, dream, whatever. Let's see here. It does feel like there's going to be, so we're talking about love predictions, right? So it does feel like there's going to be a shift in this energy. Something shifts at one time or another. And again, most of these readings, I'm feeling like in the next 6 months. It doesn't mean that it can't go longer. It doesn't mean that it can't be shorter. For some of you, this might be 3 months, because that feels kind of light and relevant as well. It's not going to be the same for everybody, and things change all the time, but it feels like there is going to be some kind of shift. Something's going to move, change, catalyze, whatever this sort of, what's the word? Man, I can't think of it. Like, I had it for a second and then it disappeared, but it's like that stalling, like the stalemate, that's the word. There's a stalemate here, and you're kind of like, okay, what's going on here? Is this person still interested? And it may be even a bigger, deeper question than that, because you're not worried necessarily about if they're interested. When you're married and been together for 10 years, if that happens to be you, you're like, WTF? That's more your reaction, probably. Not, gosh, are they interested? It's more like a question for a crush. But I hope you get what I'm saying. But this change, whatever this change is that comes the next 3 to 6 months for most of you, although it could be longer for some, it brings greater peace and harmony and flow to you guys. You return to greater union, greater connection, greater peace with each other. Something shifts in this connection such that things move forward. There is some kind of breakthrough. There is some kind of shift that brings about a greater shift all around. So let's see what else here. Yeah, this person just needs to take the time to themselves to work these things out. They're taking the time right now to turn inward, to do the work, and to heal. So there's something that they're going through that maybe you don't even understand. You very well might understand. Maybe they've communicated it. Maybe they haven't. I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but ultimately it might not. Really, they're just turning inward right now to focus on themselves, one way or another, repairing something, taking care of something, healing, growing, but they're doing some inner work right now, and they might even be getting some help, and or you've had this conversation together. Do we need to bring in a therapist? Do we need to bring in a counselor? Do we need to bring in a third party to support us? It's feeling that could be a good option. And it's feeling like it might be beneficial for them to work with the therapist also, either exclusively or at least supplement one-on-one. So not just like couples counseling, if that's something you have considered in the past. You don't subscribe to that. You don't have to do this, right? It's coming through very clearly, guidance. So this is usually the role of counselor, support, coach, mentor, teacher, healer. So doing the work, having the support to do the work, and it feels like a one-on-one situation where that person gets some help one-on-one to be able to move forward, to shift, to make this breakthrough. It doesn't mean that you can't be involved, especially as a partnership, a couple, because you might very much feel like it's relevant to you, but it ultimately feels like this, whatever their journey is something about them that they are working out, that they have to work out and more or less like do on their own. It doesn't mean that you can't be a support system or be there, but it is something that they are going to have to accomplish for themselves. Yeah, so what comes through is a greater healing and a greater liberation. Something shifts inside. And again, the prediction then is that this breakthrough happens. Your partner opens up. Some kind of shift occurs such that that sort of stonewalling or stalemate or silence or disengagement or disconnection or distance ends up being shifted. We know when I look at this card, not only do I see this sort of divine inspiration kind of shift, the liberation with the butterflies and such, but I'm also noticing her eyes and they're closed and she's crying. So, that's, to me, in this reading, it's very different, for each of the readings, but there's some healing happening here, some grieving, some recognition, some understanding, a lot of that deep inner work that we do. And so it brings about these greater shifts and greater connection to the divine, to oneself, so on and so forth, that ultimately leads to greater happiness and abundance for the both of you. This brings about a deeper shift in your relationship, one that both of you have sought. Feels like you maybe more so because they were kind of inward focused and you've just been maybe waiting for them to turn toward you or to move toward you or to work with you, and they haven't been doing that. However, this does shift, and especially if and when they take the time to do this journeying consciously / intentionally and get the help to do so. It doesn't mean that everyone's going to get help. It doesn't mean that everyone needs the help, but it is saying that would be beneficial, that would be meaningful for those of you where that situation might resonate more deeply. There is a positive outcome to this. So trusting this path, trusting this flow. Now, I do want to say, as I'm sharing the energy here, the disclaimer is, please don't trust a reading on YouTube. Trust yourself. If I'm not getting any toxicity, hostility, violence, abuse, nothing like that in this reading. So if that is there, this reading will be very different. So if that is the case for you, your path might look different, and I want to encourage you to get more support in order to get your answers. But at least for those to the energies that I have spoken to, there is a favorable outcome. There is a positive outcome. It is on the way, and it's on the way in the next 3 to 6 months. So good news for you, card pile 1. Things are shifting. Things are changing. They will be getting back on board. They will be rejoining you, reconnecting, re-engaging, and moving toward building this home, this dream, this project, this relationship, whatever it seemed like was missing in the recent months or even years for some of you. I'm feeling a couple of years even. The shift is on the way. So do let me know if this resonates. I'd love to hear your story down in the comments. Again, if this does resonate, I encourage you to like, to subscribe, press the bell icon. That way you receive notifications moving forward every single time a video pops up. And if you want to learn more about me and my work, you can check out my details below or at erritygreen.com. See you next time, card pile 1. Card pile 2. So these are love predictions for those who are couples. Okay, so it's seeming like something is changing or shifting in your relationship here. I'm not fully getting the full awareness just yet, but something's changing and there's some kind of surrender involved. So could this be taking this relationship to the next level, something that maybe you didn't expect, or this relationship hasn't yet presented or introduced? Is this person coming, the partner, the other person, are they coming toward you with an offer? Perhaps, but it's something that's different, out of the norm, that's coming, that's going to require your surrender. So to me, so far, without any other cards, we're going to go deeper so that I can get more information, because it's not 100% clear right off the bat. Sometimes I get the whole reading off the first layer of the reading. Not today, but there is something here about letting this shift happen, because it's going to bring about feels like a positive change, or whatever is intended to happen. There is some kind of change happening here. Yeah, so for some of you, I am getting, again, this could be an offer presented to you. This person is coming to you with a proposal. This person is coming to you with an engagement. This person is coming to you, either that has happened, or the wedding / marriage is on the way, or commitment ceremony is on the way. For some of you, I do feel like you might be getting pregnant, and or one of you is conceiving, whoever is the one who is able to conceive, and you're being asked to trust, to surrender. We're getting a lot of those energies: trust, surrender, let go, let it be. Like that this is a favorable outcome for this partnership, for this relationship. It is ultimately what you want. Now, as I say this, I do like to offer the disclaimer with big things like that. Please don't rely on a YouTube video or a single reading to determine the course of your life. Please do make those choices with yourself, within yourself. However, the readings are very clearly here that something is changing. Something is shifting in this relationship. New path is opening up, new beginning, new chapter, course. I just feel like there's a change in direction, not a course correct, because it doesn't feel like something's being corrected, but something is shifting and you're being asked to trust. And we have 2 cards that are speaking to surrender, to trust, and patience. So for some of you too, when I get the patience card, and as soon as I tune into that, it's saying like, be patient with this process, whatever this is. So for some of you, if all of these other examples that I've given haven't landed and you're like, listen, Errity, I have no idea what you're talking about. Number one, if it's no idea, then maybe go back and try again, or maybe this reading isn't for you, you know. I go to readings all the time and I won't get any direction. That tells me that the reading isn't for me. All of that to say, some of you are waiting for a particular change. You're waiting for the offer to be presented. You're waiting for the proposal. You're waiting for the whatever the thing is. You want to take your relationship to the next level, and the other person has not yet done that, or presented this, or agreed to it, or whatever. And you're being asked to trust, to follow the flow, to be patient, to allow the cycles and seasons to unfurl and unfold, and be present to what is here for now. So whichever direction it goes for you uniquely, or your partnership uniquely, the number one thing you can focus on so far, you know, we haven't made it all the way through the reading, something is changing, and or you want a change in your relationship, and to go ahead and trust and surrender to this change. And if that person hasn't presented, or this change hasn't happened yet, but it's a change that you seek, but it hasn't happened yet, it's saying allow the cycles to unfold. It feels like when I say that for that group of people who might be watching, there are more things. So when we talk about divine timing, it's not just timing, it's about like the other variables that are playing out, this whole divine orchestration that includes all these pieces to this puzzle. There's other things that are landing, there's other things that are falling in line, there's other things that you just aren't aware of that are happening, that are going to bring you where you want to go ultimately, or where you want to end up. But you have to trust that all these other things are falling into place, like the dominoes are falling, and it does lead to that outcome for you. Yeah. So again, there's a couple things I'm getting here. One, I do feel a divine union with this partnership. I'm getting that again. So this could be marriage, wedding, commitment ceremony. For some of you, it's conception, but coming together, a meeting of equals, mind, body, spirit, committing to the other, coming into deeper partnership. It doesn't have to be something like wedding, marriage, that's like a label or a certificate, you know, or a government saying you were married. This could be you guys just taking your relationship to the next level. And when I say you guys, I'm from the Midwest and the USA. I just mean you guys, whoever is watching, all right? Whatever you identify as, whoever you are, whatever you are, that's just me, you know, kind of letting it roll off the tongue. But this applies to you and your situation, whatever that looks like. But you're coming into greater divine union with this person one way or another, where you are deepening into this relationship, this connection, this partnership. You're allowing this shift to take place, this deeper intimacy, this deeper connection. And whatever this deeper intimacy and connection is, it does require some element of trust and surrender for you. So that's going to be your key thing when if you're listening, you're like, I wonder what that change could be. Or, I mean, most of you are already aware and you've thought of it or considered it, but some of you might not. And if that's the case, consider the thing that would require trust or surrender out of you, that would be like a change or a shift or a transformation or a deepening of this relationship or connection. Is that. Is it a status change, right? From kind of hanging out to seeing each other, to dating, to calling it a name, to moving in together. It could be any one of those things, pregnancy, on and on. We've mentioned a lot of these. Now there is a card here I want to give a moment to see what comes through, so just give me a moment here. So I'm feeling like, because I have these two cards here, right, that deepening of relationship, coming into greater connection, intimacy, and wholeness together. Again, this could be or manifest as a commitment ceremony of some kind, or a label or whatever, but it could just be deepening intimacy and connection and recognition of like taking this relationship, this connection to the next level. I went ahead and started talking, and I still wanted to give this a couple of moments. So how I'm feeling like this card, or what I think this is pointing to, is like in the past, feels like maybe there was a history or something of other kinds of relationships or connections that weren't fully authentic or true or connected in this way. And so you're now coming into a greater connection that like actually resonates to you in a big, deep, meaningful way. But it's like, you know, this is the true connection, the true romance, the true, you know, I don't like using terms. I mean, I do tend to use them because people resonate with them, and that's how we have a common understanding, like soulmate, twin flame, life partner, that kind of thing, that kind of vibe. It's like, this is the real thing. This is the real thing. If you were worried about it, uncomfortable about it, even though, you know, for some of you, this is a baby, and we talked about that earlier, and that could make people nervous, right? But this is like, this is the true thing. Whatever you thought it was, you might have thought, oh, it's being, you know, young and not having kids to worry about, responsibilities. This brings you into truer, deeper partnership. You know, this is the truer, deeper potential, right? This is the soul deep potential. So whatever you're stepping into, you can trust this. Surrender is part of this shift, and it does bring you into greater communion, but not just with this person, with yourself, with the divine. It just feels really beautiful overall. So let's see where else we're going. Yeah, we keep getting authenticity cards too. So let me see how this adds up as well. So what I'm getting is, it's like, again, because we have 2 authenticity cards. And so what this is telling me is, like, maybe you have some fears about this or some doubts or whatever. It's not very clear. Sometimes I get super clear awareness around this, and today and with this reading, it's just not happening. But what is clear is, like, this is the truth. Like, if you were worried about something or fearing something or doubting something, you know, is this the right path for me, the right person, the right thing, the right shift, you know, whatever that is, it's saying, you know, asking you, it's inviting you, take a look at your ultimate truth beyond this old conditioning, beyond fears, beyond pains of the past, beyond all the things you tell yourself and the critical commentary that you have in your head or your self-doubts or whatever. It's making sure you're seeing true or being true to what that ultimate truth is for you. Again, because whatever this shift or change is, it feels like, again, you're being asked to trust, to surrender to this shift. Some of you, I feel like, are just moving in together, things like that, and maybe you're worried about things or whatever, and then you find this reading and it's like, well, you know, don't look at the fears and the doubts and all the bad things that went wrong and the worst case scenario and all this stuff. What's true for you? You know, is it this person? So far, this reading says yes. Yeah. So it's trusting, allowing, and recognizing that ultimately this is a positive outcome. Look, there's a celebration here. Now, I will say, when I see celebration and then they're dancing in the rain, what that tells me is, of course, there are going to be difficulties and challenges and stuff. Now, that's not the energy that I'm getting in this reading, but with this card, what it shows is, like, even though, or even if, or even when stuff goes down, or things don't go our way, or things don't always feel great or good, it's like, you know, ultimately this is a favorable outcome. Like, this is what you want, right? This is like end game for you. So it's trusting that, it's allowing that, letting yourself have what you want, allowing yourself to have this connection, this partnership, this deeper intimacy, deeper union and communion. I mean, that's what's happening here for you, card pile 2, is this. Like, I would say this is the overall energy of this reading. 2 people coming together in greater union and communion. Whatever form that takes for you, that's the energy. And it's, again, you're being asked to trust. So not only do we have a trust card, we have a surrender card, and we have a faith card. Okay? I mean, you can't plan it out better. Card pile 2, you're deepening into this commitment or connection one way or another, or even at the level of intimacy. And you're being asked to trust this, to surrender to this, to move toward, to connect more deeply, that whatever it is that's happening for you uniquely, it's right on path, it's right on par, it's exactly what you truly ultimately want, what you've even maybe yearned for or wished for. This is the wish fulfillment. You're being asked to trust, to allow, but to also be patient and to remember that things may come up on this path, but ultimately it is all good for you. And remember not to not listen to those doubts or criticisms or worst case scenarios or whatever it is that you might have in your head, and just trust, allow. So that's your reading, card pile 2. I'd love to hear how this applies to you, card pile 2. So if you get this, whenever it is, you know, whether it's in the future or when this is published, I'd love to hear from you and see how it applies to your situation or circumstances specifically. So do share, and if you like this reading, of course, I encourage you to like, to subscribe, to press the bell icon. That way you receive notifications every single time a video pops up. And then, of course, if you are interested in my work or what I do or how I can support you, you can check out those details below or at erritygreen.com. Thanks, card pile 2. Okay, card pile 3, this is predictions for couples. So let's take a look at what's going on here. Yeah, so you're maturing in a connection or relationship with someone. Something is blossoming. It feels like birds singing and chirping and bees a-buzzing. It feels like springtime. It feels like things are growing. This could be a new romance, a new love connection. Card pile 3s, you very well could, again, this is the partnered reading, but I feel like this might be newly partnered, or you want it to be partnered, but right now it's still very much like the budding romance, getting to know each other, sending those texts and maybe little videos, and you know, that getting to know each other time period where things are easy, light, playful, fun, feels youthful. It feels like new, it feels like novelty, it feels like getting to know each other. And so there's this beautiful budding romance with this person, and either you're here because you want to learn about it, and or you'd like to be partnered. For some of you, very well may be partnered, but it does feel like the beginning of a relationship, a new connection that's blossoming, flowering, maturing. Now, as I'm sharing that, I did just kind of get the hit of a new beginning within a partnership. So perhaps you've been through many years of, you know, a status quo or particular dynamic that wasn't as fulfilling as this one. All of a sudden it's been revived, it's been revitalized, it's been brought back to life, and you're feeling young again, like you're all over again, you're in high school or college or whatever, and you're enjoying your partner. So it very much could be a new beginning too. Some of you, it's that whole empty nesters. So it doesn't have to be that you actually, you know, are of that age and have a child leaving the home, but it might be that vibe, right? Where now it feels like you're young and in love again. So you're either actually there, or you're with a new connection. It feels brand new, but that's the maturing that's happening in this connection. Yeah, so it feels like there was a long period of some kind of struggle, grief, difficulty. Now, what I'm feeling, you know, stress, things like that. Now, what I'm feeling is two different versions of this. If this is that new romance, that budding romance, feels like maybe for a long time you were single or unpartnered. My dog's right here, if you hear him moaning and groaning and stuff. So for a while you were unpartnered, and you were wondering, you know, will something ever happen for me? Will I find my person, or the one, or whatever, the fulfilling, meaningful partnership? And, you know, you went through a period of kind of moving through all of that, and now you have found this person, and it's flowering and blossoming, and it just feels like you're kind of dancing in daisies kind of thing. Now, if you are in a relationship, and this has been a long-standing relationship, or whatever long is to you, it doesn't matter, but there was a period though of difficulty, struggle, strife, maybe even disconnection, and now you guys have refound yourselves again, like you've refound yourselves together, like you've come back together. It's not showing what the catalyst was to bring you back together. Perhaps we'll get that, but again, I did get that vibe of like empty nesters, and it's not going to be the case for everyone, but however you can apply that, something shifted to then allow this change to take place. Okay, so let's take a look here. The next cards. Oh, and now my dog's coming through. Hold on. Good old Takuma. You gotta love Takuma when he just makes a cameo. Maybe that's relevant to some of you. Who knows what a Shiba Inu is? Okay, so let's get back to the reading in terms of new romance, new connection. I feel like perhaps, again, this might not be, I say new romance, new connection because that's the energy, but again, this could be like a revitalization of an already very well established relationship. I feel like what was getting in the way, whether you were quote unquote single prior to this, or just uncoupled for a time, or in this relationship or partnership, it feels like some insecurity was like breeding some things that were turning the relationship sour. I don't know what that is specifically for each and every one of you, or how that's going to land or resonate, especially when we have like multiple different conditions that I'm feeling into. But it does feel like maybe insecurity at some level, for whatever reason, was putting a rift in this connection. So those are people who are already well established. For those who are like in this new romance, this budding romance, you want to be partnered, or it's like early romance, you know, there's this message of not letting that get in the way. Like you might be feeling some insecurities right now, or some fears, maybe a little bit trepidatious or reluctant, like kind of dipping your toe in the water, but not jumping in fully. But it's like, you can trust this, because take a look at this card. This is the true thing. This might even be the one. This might be the one, card pile 3. So you enjoy this all you want. Like, that's really cool. So if this is a new romance, that's cool to know, right? Now, don't put too much pressure on it, or let it freak yourself out if you're already feeling insecurities as it is. But hey, just let you know, reading the energy. And for those of you who are in a well-established partnership or connection, you probably already know this, or at least have some idea around it. But I think for a time with that difficulty, whatever that challenging period was, it might have been something where it wasn't as clear anymore. You know, you weren't sure if this person was the one. You weren't sure if it was going to outlast this season that you went through. You weren't sure if you guys are going to, you know, grow old together, die together, all the things. But it's saying like this person is the one. So some of you know that. Yeah. So again, talking about fears, insecurities, or whatever it is that you went through, whether single, partner, you know, the different conditions that I brought up, you do have to apply these energies to your own circumstance. It feels like, you know, remembering to connect to your heart ultimately, you know, not the fears, not the worries, not whatever your projections are or assumptions or ideas or expectations or judgments or on and on and on, all the mental commentary that we get into and sometimes even sabotage ourselves or relationships or whatever. We don't allow things to blossom. We don't allow things to bloom. We get too scared to dive in, to say yes, to jump in, to do the thing, to say the thing, all of that stuff. And it's like, remember to return to the heart. Because that's where it's going to be, it feels like easier to allow this to continue to just blossom, flourish, thrive, whatever. Like obviously, and I think it's kind of cliche, like we already know this, right? But it's not going to be the mind that's going to give you the answer, the fears, the insecurity. You know, remembering to step into the heart space and let that lead you instead. And don't, again, sabotage yourself. So we're getting sabotage a lot here, or at least insecurity. However that shows up for you, it's like you can let yourself in. Let yourself be loved. Allow this to happen. Again, some of you are trepidatious. You're dipping your toe in the water. You might not be jumping in full throttle. You're nervous because of this difficult time period, whether you were alone or with this person, and now you're like, is this the real thing? Is this going to work out? You know, am I willing to recommit? Am I willing to give 100%? On and on and on. And, you know, even some other insecurities and stuff like that, because we got that card. And this is like, you have the key. You can let yourself in. You can let the magic happen. You know, this is a true partnership for you. Like, it does feel like it's the one. Not that there's only one, okay? I do believe that I'm not subscribed that there is just one. I feel like there are strong potentials and even stronger potentials, and those stronger ones could be the one for that potential. But it feels like the one. And if you're here and you're hearing that, you've probably already known that. I'm not telling you news. I'm not telling you something you don't already know. Yeah. Defend to the end the worthwhile. This is the thing. This is the real deal. Yes, keep moving toward this person, toward this connection, toward this new chapter, this new beginning, whether you're partnered, because I mean that is the reading, but some of you just want to be partnered, or it's a new partnership, a budding romance, budding partnership. Keep going. This is the real deal. This is the thing you've been looking forward to, and perhaps sort of like, you know, sabotaging yourself, whether intentionally or not, along the way. But this is the thing. Like, this is it for you. Past lives, you guys are more than likely, again, we already got the soulmate card, we'll say, right? The one, defend to the end, the worthwhile, and now we have past lives. This is very much a soul connection. Could be soulmate, twin flame, whatever belief system, value system you subscribe to. You don't have to subscribe to that belief system at all, or even past lives at all. You get to decide. But it does feel like this is, you know, soul tribe, soul family, soul connection, something that runs deep, that is a part of this life, a part of your path, and is very much meant for you. As long as you're able to embrace it, give yourself permission, the green light, say yes, and continue to enjoy this. This energy is beautiful. Allow yourself to enjoy it. Okay. All right, card pile 3, that's your reading. I'd love to hear your stories. Please do tell me below. Like, I love when people say, oh, I loved your reading, it was spot on, but I love to hear your stories. Tell me how it's applying. You know, tell me how it's landing. I'd love to hear about you, you know. So do connect in that way if you feel comfortable. I also encourage you to like, to subscribe. Do press the bell icon. That way you receive ongoing notifications. And if you want to know more about my work or how I can support you, you can check out those details below or at erritygreen.com. Thank you, card pile 3.